Good evening, good morning, and good night. Welcome to Inappropriate Radio. It's your host, Shauna. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so first of all, happy Sunday. Welcome. Excuse me. I'm here because I really want to get this podcast on a level where we can talk about spirituality, spiritual warfare, and it's not uncomfortable, and it's not and it's a healthy debate. Let me just say that. It's not an argument or a fight where people are being offended and feeling like they have to be on the defense. They can speak their piece from what they know, from what they think, from what they experienced. And it's healthy, and the information that everyone here is divulging is useful, right? I want to talk about race and spirituality and spiritual warfare. First, I think it's important to remember the physical battle that we've been fighting and how that translates into the spirit world. Let's not forget that everything going on in the spirit world happens first, and then it manifests here in this time and space. So we ultimately have no control over the spirit world. We do when you are conscious and you are awake, enough to allow your spirit to do things that makes it plausible, right? So if you're a conscious person and you're fully aware of who you are and your power and you're tapped into your gifts, you might be able to make things shift around in the spirit world, i.e. prayer, right? Fasting. We talked about this, how some things you can do, to tap in. Even if you are fully aware of yourself and you can properly interpret your dreams, that is another way to be informed of what's going on in the spirit world. Now, I'm bringing up race because on my Facebook, I made a post and I see that a lot of people were, offended, and two, confused, right? So I basically talked about how Spanish girls were more likely to put a love spell and a binding spell and glamour spells on black men. This is not to say that Caribbean girls, African girls, Southern girls, desperate girls don't do this. And this was also not to say that people who are not of color are not victims. I based the post off of my experience, off of my observations, many observations over the years, right? This is not something that I just woke up on a Saturday and realized that I needed to post, right? This is calculated. When it comes to what I'm posting on my social medias, and what I'm seeing on the podcast, these are calculated things. I'm not just putting things out there on a whim, right? It's thought about before I decide to go ahead and put it out there into the universe. So understand that if I'm saying something, it's coming from a place that's genuine. I'm not attacking anyone. I'm not making anyone my victim. I've obviously been a victim of spiritual attacks, brujeria, of not even voodoo, because voodoo is like being a Christian or a Muslim, of black magic, of dark magic, of many different forms. I've been placed on altars. My picture, my name has been placed inside of shoes and freezers. I'm a seer, right? SEER. This is one of the main reasons that I've launched this podcast, and I'm actually going to do a video about this tonight because I don't know what's going on with this platform. It's not allowing me to go live, and I can't have this thing stopping me, right? I can blame the devil or I can blame a lot of other things. We're not going to get into that. I'm just going to go ahead and give the energy over to my YouTube, and we're going to skip all the accusation, right? Accusing the devil. What I did learn is that a lot of people are offended who are not even black by the truth. And this is a part of the problem. We come to the aid of other people, but we don't come to the aid of ourselves and one another. And that's problematic on so many different levels. But I will say that I think it's nice. I will say that it is nice. However, before we commence to attack one another, it's important that we figure out where we lie on this spectrum, because again, we are attacked. So essentially, if your father or your brother or your cousin or your best friend, a male that's important to you that you're connected to, is being spiritually attacked, I don't care if the woman is blue or green, you too will ultimately be affected by the attack, especially if this is someone who shares your bloodline. My dad, dated a Puerto Rican woman, made 2 children. She decided to put magic on my father and my mother, and ultimately it affected me and her children as well, my brother and my sister. It resulted in my father being murdered, her youngest, right, and her oldest being my brother, my baby brother, being killed. And she's not even 50, and she's had about 3 heart attacks. The magic had backfire at this point. And I'm bringing this up because this is something that has affected me directly. I experienced this. This is not something I read in a book. This is not something I found on YouTube or Google Scholar. Like, this is my actual life, and I actually experienced this. So for someone to be offended by what I observed time and time again, it's mind-boggling, especially if I have to keep explaining to you over and over again what I've seen and what I know to be true. The thing should be for you is to go and do your own research and find out where this is coming from, and not try to pick apart what I'm saying I experienced, especially if I'm saying it over and over again. One of the main issues with this is that, again, like I said, a lot of us like to attack one another, and we don't even go to the source, right? That is a part of the spell. We attack one another, but we're not even looking at where this is actually coming from. I'll give you guys an example. December 21st of 2020, there was a major eclipse with Saturn and Jupiter that was said to be the end of the curse, this 400-year curse, right? So for 400 years, Black people have been enslaved. Where do you think the curse came from, people? And I'm sorry to put down any group, but I mean, it's the truth. So if you are offended by the truth, you are most certainly a part of the problem, especially if you're not Black. If you're Black, I'll cut you some slack, because, obviously you were under a spell, right? And we've been whitewashed and brainwashed, and I'm not picking on any group. My grandma's Irish, real deal. If you know, you know. So I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just pointing and stating the obvious. The colonizers that came here were Spaniards, for crying out loud. They were not the British. The British came here way after. The French, I don't even think they came here. Like, the French went to like Haiti and, some other places later. But the initial colonizers that came here to attack the Native Americans and the Black people that were already here were Spaniards. That is a fact. Christophe Colombo, they were not, traditional Europeans. They were European, but they were Spanish Europeans, straight from Spain. So again, we have to Stop attacking one another and look at the facts. I'm stating the facts. I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just speaking history. These facts are in all of our history books. You can pull it up anywhere. So to attack me for expounding on what we already know, I think is weird. What's been done? They've come here, given us smallpox, and I'm seeing the black people that were already here because we were here. Don't believe this nonsense bullshit story about them going to Africa and the Caribbean and ripping them from their land and bringing them here. No, that happens a very small percentage. Think about this, right? People who are coming into an unfamiliar territory, right? Where they are not even used to the sun, right? Because we come from a hot climate. So if you go to the Caribbean or Africa, it's essentially hot. Do you actually think these colonizers were just roaming around, going around snatching people up? We die every day, right? But we're talking about a group of people who can't even be in the sun, who are going to a familiar place. That makes no sense, guys. So we have to start thinking. And I'm going to bring this back around full circle to race, because again, everything that happens here has manifested in the spirit world first. So you have to ask yourself, one, why did God allow us to be captivated for such a long period? Two, this spell that was broken on December 21st, 2020, can we do a little more research on that? I'm a reader, right? I read. I like to do research. I like to know things. So I'm not going to just say stuff because I think it. This is information that's been confirmed over the course of a period, a time period. So I don't mean to offend anyone, but I'm speaking the facts. And again, if your forefathers raped, killed, kidnapped, beat, tortured, and enslaved my forefathers, I should be mad with you. You should not be attacking me about what's obviously true. Right? So, black people, please don't, before you commence to, oh, where did you get that from? How do you know that? And what's going on? And you should be more professional. And please, okay, do your own research. And again, black people are the only people who are condemned for speaking out about the truth. Right? When black people have issues and problems, we are the only group of people who are attacked for wanting this to come to an end. I mean, even when you see white people or Spanish people come to our aid, they are condemned, but not at the rate that we are. They still get condemned because it's like, who the hell are you to seek a resolve for these people? I'm sick of it. So I'm just really, really going to encourage you guys to really do more research on race and where we were. We were actually on every single continent before 1492 and after. Hence the reason the Aboriginal people, that's all the way in Australia. The natives are brown. You can't get brown melanin without us, period. Especially back then. They weren't doing gene therapy or gene manipulation or modification. So you definitely had to have us to have this copper tone. So I'm going to start wrapping this up. I appreciate you guys for stopping by listening. I definitely want you guys to adhere to what's going on in your spirit, right? And learn a little more before you begin to try and combat what's going on and what's being said. And you might be able to learn something. So I'm going to wrap this thing up. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I hope your weekend was good. I hope your week is good. And I'm out. God bless. Peace.